Yo, what up, y'all? What's this? Episode 3. Spoilert. It's my movie review. I am the host, comedian Romeo Mac. Today I'm joined by, introduce yourself.
Mr. Lord British, the Space Fighter. I'm ill. Check me out on YouTube, DA Space Fighter. Anthony British on the Facebook. Hit me up. About to get into some shit today.
So today we talking about Will Smith's Emancipation on Apple Plus. So, first off, what'd you think of the movie?
Alright. I'm going to tell you the truth. Sorry, my hand's kind of big. I'm going to tell y'all something. Anthony British, Mr. Lord British, the Space Fighter, Pum Pum, does not like slave movies. I feel like it's a trope that's overdone, especially because in 2021, Jordan Peele was supposed to release a movie called Cracker, where it was an inverse
of... you seen that trailer?
Yeah.
I didn't know that was him.
Yeah, it was supposed to be an inverse of slavery, and they cut it. They wrapped it up and said it was too much for the American audiences to take in.
They had Mahershala Ali as like the slave master.
So it's okay for you to depict people of color in chains and bonds and whipped on camera, and it's all good. But if it was done to white people, there's a problem.
Me, considering, well, I don't know about everywhere else, because this is going to get real cultural, this whole conversation, because they was in America, so, that's my culture and shit. So, I don't mind seeing it, slave movie. I get the whole, but it's a constant reminder. People need to constantly be fucking reminded, hey. And I feel like this one did a different take on it. First off, I like the movie. You know what I'm saying?
The movie was...
Only thing I like, they made him Haitian. I went with that shit. I'm sorry.
Man, the thing about making him Haitian was I did not like his accent. It kind of ruined it for me at those parts where I'm supposed to feel emotionally.
You know why? Because I can only speak to America. Our slaves were one way, so to see it another way, you're like, what the fuck? That's not a...
It's not a slave.
That's not our slave. That's not American slave. That might be, a Haitian slave. That's not American slave. Notice his kids didn't talk like that.
No. They were all right. They were like, this nigga tripping.
They didn't, you know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, him and the other slave that had the accent, I'm like, why he got the...
Like, they came straight from Haiti. By the way, Sapase, Mavule.
Yeah, and that's another, I'm like, all right, if that movie was 1863, right? Mm-hmm. How did he come from Haiti if Haiti ended slavery in 1804?
This man went and did his research.
Nah, I ain't do my research. This is common practice. This is common talk amongst my circles. But, you know what I'm saying? The Haitian Revolution ended in 1804. This shit was where he was civil rights. Guy looked at him. He said, you got to be about 48. So even if that's 60 years, this dude would have had to been over 60 years old for him to be Haitian.
Yeah.
He said he was born in Haiti.
Yeah, I think that warrants further investigation.
Nah, ain't no further investigation. They lied on dude. That's like me making...
No, but this is based off a real story.
No, yes. Whipped Peter was a real person. Peter Gordon, which we'll get into that later. I don't like how they did that either. Yeah, he was a real person, but he was not Haitian.
Yeah.
Nah, I ain't like that.
Yeah, Will Smith... The things that I didn't like about the movie was basically Will Smith really didn't have any strong speaking lines in which we could get really in-depth analysis with the characters' motivations for what he was doing. It was just like family. But family could be a broad thing. I would like to see something else, like a backstory or a little bit of showmanship of how strong his will would be. For us to fully understand his...
I feel like that is probably how it actually happened. I don't know all this family shit they did, because you have to be nice about it. You can't just go, look, angry black man saying, fuck this shit. I'm turning up on the whites. You know what I'm saying? Even Django, he had for his lady. He was his lady.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't watch Birth of a Nation, but it seems like Nat Turner's the only one that said, yo, fuck this dumb shit. I didn't watch the movie. But But I know, in real life.
You should watch Nat Turner. That was a good one.
Was his shit for family, or he was just on some fuck this shit?
He was on some fuck you.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. I'm sure this guy was the same. You seen his back?
Let me tell you something. There was a part in the movie where he said, they beat me, threw me down the well, took me out the well, beat me up again.
Broke my bone.
Somebody gotta die.
That's what I'm saying.
Somebody.
He did kill him, but his shit was not like how it probably actually was. But let's start it. So boom, it starts with family. Mm-hmm. First off, it starts with him beating the shit out of the slavers. Mm-hmm. They came in, did some shit. He was like, yo, don't touch me. I was like, okay, this is towards the end of slavery. Because, another thing I want to point out. I'll do that in a second. But, so they come in there and they grab him. He fucking whoops 3 of their asses.
Right.
Brutally. He is fucking them up.
After just washing his wife's feet on his knees.
Yeah. And then, so they put the gun to the wife's head. And he's like, all right, I'll stop. You know what I'm saying?
Chill.
And right there, they sold him. They put that nigga in a wagon. Kids running. He got the daughters too. That was a sad touch. Mm-hmm. He got the daughters, and cause that's how you could tell it was like towards the end of slavery, because they had the slave cots and everything. Like slaves had family and shit like that. Like I'm not saying slaves didn't have family, but you know what I'm saying. Like they lived in a.
Like a commune.
The slave house. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Because, like, some slaves could grow their own crops and stuff like that. Like, I'm sure that happened later, like, openly. I'm sure they've been doing it the whole time, but, like, I'm saying openly, they're probably like, oh, yeah, sure, go ahead. So, yeah, he gets sold. And this was a very important to me, where he got sold to. Because I'm tired of fucking hearing other races talking about they built the fucking railroads. No, the fuck you didn't. You didn't build the railroads. We built the railroads. My people built the railroads. Y'all connected the railroads we built after we were free. The Transcontinental Railroad, that was completed, I think, 1869, 1879, some shit like that. Slavery was over in technically 1863, but 1865, everywhere. So who built the railroads all up into there? The fucking railroads the railroad companies used to buy slaves. And that's exactly what happened there. They fucking brought a slave to build the fucking railroad.
Which is kind of crazy. Watching Will Smith walk into this camp and they're just building and they're telling him, hey, don't look up. Look down.
Yeah.
And all of that. And I didn't, it kind of like, it's very shocking. I like the whole fact that the movie was filmed in, I wouldn't say black and white, but more like a gray and green, which was really good. A lot of the gore, it was implied, with little splats here and there. Mm-hmm. I did like that. The war scenes where there was battles was really good. I did like the muskets.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't give that enough credit when I was watching. Now that you're talking about it, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, the war scenes were good. There were explosions and people were, flying all over the place. I was like, oh, that nigga dead. That nigga dead for real. But a lot of, by the way, Smitty, I'm coming for you. All right? Look me in my eyes, brother. I'm coming for you. But back with what I was saying. The fighting was amazing. I will say Will Smith did do a good job. His character wasn't overly like a beast, kung fu skills, but definitely put up a good fight. There was great acting. You know the name of the white guy that was like the main slaver?
No, but I seen him in other shit. I seen him in the one with, no, that wasn't him. What's the one with the Adam Sandler movie that he just did with Netflix? Hustler. Yeah.
Hustler.
He was the team owner, the son that got the team.
Yeah.
That was him, but I don't know his name. I feel like that's the same guy from the movie with him and Jason Statham when he was training the younger dude to like kill people.
Right.
With the mechanic or some shit.
Yeah, he definitely was a good part to play as the main slaver. There was a part he said, "You'll be my dog, You'll beg me for this meat." Pause. And I was like, that's kind of disrespectful. It's not kind of. It's really disrespectful. And
nah. It's what he said something before that. Because he said something
He said, "You'll
like,
be my dog."
he's like, you're like a dog. And he's like, well, can I get the meat that they have?
Pause. Yeah.
Yeah, pause.
Crying.
But here's what I liked that they showed. When he got sold and they were going there and, like, they had the slaves' heads chopped off and shit on the pikes and shit, like, I'm glad they didn't overdo it because I'm tired of them, demasculating black men. But I'm glad they showed that the other men were fucking crying. I was like, yes, this is sad shit.
Yep.
You just got torn away from your family, and then now you're going, you know what I'm saying? You don't know where you're going. I was like, I'm glad they kind of showed them crying because I'm like, them niggas was mad. They was like, what the fuck? Like, this is horrible.
Attention to detail. They even said during the movie, what do they call you? It was a callback to when they would tell them, like, oh, this is your name now. Like, fuck your name. You're not,
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, that's detail, which made the story 10 times better.
Now, the film took place in Louisiana, which is very important. And basically, he had to get to Baton Rouge. And that's another thing I don't like. I mean, I get the time. I get it. But, like, they like, we must get to Lincoln. I'm like, all right, white savior. Like, goddamn. That's why I'm glad when they fucking got to Lincoln, the niggas, we'll get to that later. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to skip too many parts. So, boom, he's building the railroad. For whatever reason, I guess the guy notices, like, the people like him and shit. So when the slaves get a break, he don't get one. He has to work the whole time and shit, which I thought was important. They showed that because I'm like, yeah, yo, slaves worked all day, all night. And if you couldn't make it, you died. Didn't they just... Yeah, because some dude, he just died. And they was like, all right, Will Smith, like, grab him and take him into the fucking nigger pool and throw him into the pit.
One thing I will say is in a later movie, I don't remember, I think it's Trading Places with Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd, or so one of them. But there's a whole part where he's like, the best thing to do, is you take you elevate a Negro, which isolates him from his peers. You teach him, your ways, so he'll be more inclined to become more like you, but it'll push him further away from his people, and they'll hate him instead of hating you, white man, basically. And it was like the same thing, and I was very impressed by that.
Oh, you mean with the coon they had?
Yeah, like the way that they tried to, like...
I love when Will Smith killed him. He said, you're the worst kind. Bashed his head right in.
We don't like that, man. Don't work for the man like that.
Yeah, that was Samuel Jackson in Django. And that's another thing, because you said this is a slave movie.
Nigga on the horse.
Nigga on that nag. To me, this wasn't a slave movie. This was a goddamn revolution movie, a freedom movie.
Yeah.
Now, it was wrapped around slavery, but one thing I love that other fucking people from, no offense to you and them, but people from other countries always say about the people here, like the black people here, and we have to correct them, and they act like we're lying. The fucking, that long speech he gave,
right?
He was like, yeah, like, we're freeing ourselves. Matter of fact, before the movie, the captions that popped up, it said that. It was like, yo, black people were freeing themselves. They did not wait for the Civil War.
No.
I think they said even, like, they put a number to it, like 800,000 black people, like, freed themselves type shit.
It's like once you notice that, man, there's 100, 200 of us, and there's like 10 of y'all. Let's let the numbers do the talking, my boy.
Yeah.
All of that, man. I think at one point during the movie, he thinks he's hallucinating, and he sees like the flaming horse, and it's actually like a revolt going on near him. So I think when he was coming out the bog, and I was like, that was a different touch. We never really see the revolution or the uprising of, the people who are being oppressed upon until like the very end. But here we saw it, and he got to see some action. He finally got to eat. Because he was starving that whole movie.
Yo, son, one thing I love they did, every time he stopped for anything, that motherfucker, he made sure he got some water.
Yep.
He was a drinking ass motherfucker, yo. Oh, so let's get into that. Basically, they're working and shit. One dude gets fucking branded on his face.
That was graphic.
That was.
My man's cheeks was jiggling. That hurt. I just don't know how they do it in college. When you black and you pledge Greek and they put those marks on you.
Yeah. I'm good.
I'm good off that.
I wanted to pledge, but then I was like, wait a minute, I hear too much weird stuff and I ain't with it.
True. So, homeboy gets pressed on. His cheeks get pressed on. Later on, they were in the cage, and instead of being able to sleep in this big wooden cage guarded by dogs and, these white guys, obviously, they chained them to the floor. And they had to sleep sitting up.
Yep.
I'm like, bruh, I don't got no neck, so you're not putting no chain around mine, okay? And the dude that was on the floor, he was like, why are you telling this man about God?
That's another thing I didn't like.
If God was here, he would be saving us right now. Does your God... I was like, wow.
That's another thing I didn't like. I was like, what the fuck? And that's another thing I was also thinking, too. I was like, yo, son, if he came from Haiti, part of the Haitian Revolution was giving up all the, the white man's religion and shit and going back to their own shit. And call upon their own gods to whoop their ass. They wasn't fucking praying to fucking Jesus. I mean, they might be now, but I'm just saying, like, they was on their own shit, man. Cause I got big respect for Haiti. I just, you know what I'm saying.
Who did black people pray to before Jesus?
Exactly. That's who them niggas was on. So he was on that Jesus shit or whatever in this movie, and I'm sitting here like, nah, dog. He been through too much. Like, just like he said. Like, there ain't no Jesus out here for us, yo.
Yeah, and I didn't... Those words resonated. And then Will Smith's character was like, if you don't believe in God, let me pray for you.
Yeah.
That nigga said, I don't want to hear that shit.
I didn't like that shit.
I didn't like it.
That's more white savior shit.
Mm-hmm.
Because even when he basically at this point they hear about the Lincoln shit and they're like, yo, fuck that shit, let's escape. And I forgot how it happened, but Will Smith set that bitch off. Mm-hmm. He was about to get shot in the head or some shit. He did something wrong. He was helping. No, someone got weak or some shit and he fell down.
So basically, at this point in the movie, they're already punishing him. They've been brought before the dude, the main slaver. Had the dog barking in his face, right, telling him, yo, you belong to me. I'm your God. And now my dog has your scent, which was crazy. And when the older black dude dies, they're like, go throw him in the pit. Go ahead, pick that boy up. Will Smith walks him over to this pit of dead bodies. Now, you got these mass graves, which is high-key disrespectful. Throws the body in there. There are people who deserted, so they're actually white deserters.
You know what? I didn't know if they were white deserters or what they like to say, the Irish indentured servant shit.
I hate all that talk about the Irish were slaves too.
Yeah,
I hate all of that.
They weren't. But just like 12 Years a Slave, the Brad Pitt character, like some people had to work some shit off, and they worked like through the slave shit. So that's probably what they were. But
you got to get away.
Yeah, you see how quick the white supremacy kicked in. They're like, hey, y'all do it. They're like, why would we do that when we got perfectly good nigger here to do it?
Which was crazy.
And they was like, right, nigger, you do it.
And then in that part, Will Smith's character takes a moment and he just registers the situation, sees a point where he could cause some chaos, and, chaos ensues. And as we all know, chaos is a ladder. Shout outs to Game of Thrones. And he takes advantage and he tells everybody, hey, run free. But, pause, the part about that before was when he told the other slaves that Lincoln had said that they're no longer slaves, that slavery is over. Yeah. The slaves were so embedded in that life, they said, you're lying. Like, why would a white man set us free?
Right, yeah.
And they didn't believe him. That was crazy. That's on some Stockholm shit. And I bet there were black people like that.
Oh, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Like, some of the coons and the ones that just gave in, they're like, this is our life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just was like, damn, they could have at least made him fucking African. Like, they, yeah. I don't know why they did that. I don't know why.
The African, I would have been more inclined to believe that character I could get into.
I would have believed the Haitian shit, too.
If the accent was better.
Actually, no. Why making him? Why didn't they just make him what he was? Look at me giving into the shit. I'm mad. I would have mad if he would have been anything other than what the fuck he was, even if he was fucking African. Fuck that shit. That man was a generation. But anyway, yeah, so they run away. Mm-hmm. And then, I don't know what the white people were doing, but eventually because Will Smith, he beat the shit out of, like, some more. Will Smith was going ham. His character, I was like, yeah, like, the whips on his back, like, it makes sense. I was like, he was not playing that shit at all.
Mm-hmm. He saw his opportunity, said, I'm going to go ahead and get the fuck up on out of here, my boy. And he dipped. And everybody started dipping, too.
Then them niggas came back, they was busting on dudes and shit.
Boss.
Now this part was very important to me because you learn a lot of the southern states like Florida, because Florida was going ham. Mm-hmm. They was busting slave masters' asses, burning shit down. Florida was going ham. In the South, there's a lot of swamps, and a lot of slaves escape through the swamps, especially in New Orleans, because, that's their life. And I liked how they showed, like, when he ran up, like, first they had to go through the little swamp part. One dude got scared because he seen a gator. I was like, that's how serious it is. These niggas don't give a fuck. They don't care if there's a gator in there. They're like, nigga, we ain't working not a day in this motherfucker. Not for you. No, fuck that. I don't care about this damn gator. So, dude gets scared.
That part where the dude got scared, dressed at the tip of the water, I was like, man, if they catch you, you can hear the horses and the dogs coming. Mm-hmm. If they catch you, that's your ass. I'll jump in the water with that gator.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Now, here's one thing I didn't like. Because there was 4 people that tried to run away, right? Mm-hmm. The one guy that got scared and the other 3. Now, the other guy, he kept seeing at the end, and they were in the army together, the Gordon guy. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Him and that guy are the same person. I don't know why they split him in 2.
Did they?
Yeah. That guy's name is either Gordon Peter or Peter Gordon, whatever. They made him into 2 separate people.
Damn. So they had the whacker half.
Yeah, like, there's no way somebody could have did all this. That's what. Notice that guy never died. Mm. All the other ones died. That guy never died, even when he got shot and everything.
He was there talking. I got time for this, man. You need to die.
Yeah, it's that.
He was so relentless too. He chased that man across.
Now that's what I want to get into.
Everything.
Once they got across, they doing their thing. He's like, yo, we need to split up. Makes it harder for them to track. Yeah, go through the swamps. Follow the cannons. You know what I'm saying?
Sorry. Follow Lincoln's cannons.
Yeah, follow Lincoln's cannons.
One thing, how would we know what Lincoln's cannons sounded like? Or how did you know which cannons were which? You know what I mean? It didn't make sense.
That is also true. It could have been the Confederate cannon. And considering the fact he said the Confederate cannons were way fucking bigger.
But continue.
Yeah. So they split up, right? One guy's got a gun. He's got the knife. He's making a makeshift thing. Now, here's what I was like, wow, look how relentless. I love that they showed that. I was like, this white man is relentless. It almost seems fiction. Mm-hmm. How he wanted that slave so badly. It almost seems fiction.
It was like Jason following an underage girl that hasn't had sex yet. He was going hard.
Like, yeah, he really was on his Michael Myers shit. Like, no matter how he got away, they kept coming. Mm-mm.
He was on the horses. They had the dogs. Oh! The part where Will Smith runs through the forest, finally comes across like a house in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on that too.
Takes the little
water,
all the water, and then just as he grabs a sheet to cauterize his wounds, a little white girl.
This was important.
And
it's taught early.
And goes,
Runner! They had the slave bell to let the fucking...
Ding, 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 okay.
So all that... Oh, when I was a kid, I was nice to the slave. No, you weren't, bitch. Mm-mm. No, you weren't. They taught that shit from little kid. That bitch had to be, what, 6? With her fucked up teeth.
And she knew. She knew, like...
She was on code with hers.
And that dude came running after him.
He was like, he went that way.
The fact that those slaves back then was willing to get into a bog with a gator...
Multiple times.
And chill. You had to chill in the water with an apex predator. Couldn't be me, man.
Now, I feel like the part where, because he starts traveling stuff, and then eventually he hits this spot, it's like a camp set up. I feel like that was Native American.
In Native American? I mean,
because black people and Native American were like this.
true.
Or at least the black aboriginals and stuff.
I thought that it was like a halfway station. Like other slaves had done that to like.
I was thinking that too.
Yeah, but then the canoe wouldn't have made sense.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I was thinking it might have been Native American. Because notice, he was like, when they was like, how'd you get here? He's like, I know the woods. It's like, how you know the woods? You've been on a plantation. You know what I'm saying? Like, black people would communicate with Native Americans and shit. That's why we were the first cowboys. And then that's why we were the first postal people.
Wow, didn't know that.
Yeah, because the Native Americans was
And
fucking the white people up.
Something new on Spoiler. Tune in.
Yeah, Native Americans fucking the white people up. But they was cool with the blacks. So the blacks had to deliver the mail. That's why to this day, black people always be like, man, this work at the post office, like Hollywood Shuffle.
I'm weak. But after that whole part in the halfway station where he had the honey, he saw the smoke, there was a fire pit, cauterized the wounds.
Yeah.
There was some water, more water.
Yeah.
And then he got his shit, he climbed the tree.
Got his honey,
ate the comb. That was the meal.
And I love how they were showing like all the bugs and insects. He like when he was walking, he said, "I'm like, yeah, this is a swamp, yo. This is all type of shit." That nigga walking through them bees like it was nothing. Though he gave no fucks.
Yeah,
it was a ton of them. He was like,
I think the beehive was the most scary part. Well, one of the scary parts because I couldn't climb a tree and get stung in your face while trying to take some honey.
Right.
But he needed that to survive.
He sure did. That shit. He was unfazed. This was a tough man. It'd be ones like that. I'm like, how did slavery happen? I don't get it.
I don't know either.
But I get it. You know, I don't want to disrespect my ancestors. I get it, but I also don't get it. And clearly there was a gang of people that didn't get it neither. They was freeing themselves.
They had to. Because sometimes you just can't wait on a miracle. You got to make it yourself. And they wasn't giving a fuck.
Now, the beginning part, so he gets away and stuff, and they have to set up camp, right? Mm-hmm. The white people set up camp. I don't like the stupid story he gave beforehand, like, I was nice to the slave lady. I gave her bread. My dad said that.
The story didn't make any sense.
Yeah, because in my head, I was like, so what made you hate them after that if you were nice? Like, what? But anyway. Yeah, he was like, told the story about him being a little kid. But then he started saying real shit. Mm-hmm. Like how white people are just afraid of pretty much black people. He was like, yo, like, he's like, slaves are not ignorant. Like, people like to say that. They're not. If anything, they're like the most persistent people on the planet.
Right.
He's like, they keep getting free. One gets free and another gets free. And then he was like a nigga get too smart. Like, you got to kill him.
Right.
Because he was like, they will take all this stuff back. He's like, and they will run it. But the last part, I feel like all white people must feel like this. At the last part, he was like, then they'll make us slaves, and we can't have that. It was like, ain't nobody trying to make you slaves, man.
I'm not even gonna lie to you. I've heard people who think like that, and it's dumb to me.
It's ignorant. Ignorant. I didn't mean to say.
I mean, we can argue that there's been slaves of every generation. There are people that are slaves today, but black people not even on that. Yeah. I in my brain, never have I said, let me overthrow the caucasity and enslave all white people.
Yeah. Now, trust, y'all keep tripping throughout time. Someone's going to think that. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? All they got to do is chill, and everything can be good. Be like, all right, yo, we fucked up. Here's your paper. Let's get some equality going.
Moral of the story, leave us alone, and nothing will happen to you.
Yeah, but that was very important. I was like, oh, look, that's white supremacy right there. They got to make sure they keep it hard. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So then Will Smith, he's going ham. He killed the dog. The dog ran up on that nigga. He turned around, shot that dog dead. Like, fuck you, dog.
No.
Then we
skipped over a part. The part where he links back up with one of the original slaves that broke out with him. And they...
No, was that before or after the big fight?
Oh, yeah, that was before.
Okay.
Yeah, they link up. And he's like, yo, you brought the dogs to me. He's like, no, right. I did. Technically, you did, my boy. Right. Because I didn't even know. I even forgot about him. And what did he do? He grabbed the onions
He masks his scent with the onions, which they only showed that a little. That was a big part of escaping slavery.
Yeah.
Masking your scent like that.
Them dogs was on you.
Like, he just bit it and rubbed it. It was like, no, he had pockets full of onions.
Yeah.
In real life.
It was the onions, and they beheaded and killed that slave, and he had to watch and not say.
It was, but guess what? He was looking. Dude didn't snitch. When dude didn't snitch, Will Smith started nodding his head. Yeah, like, yeah, he's a rider. Mm-hmm. Like, he gonna die for me. I told him to put the fucking onion. They found his ass.
Pause. One other thing I was gonna say. There's a part in the movie where Will Smith was holding his breath under the water, and just as he gets out and everything is supposed to be okay, the alligator jumps out of the water, grabs him on the shoulder, and pulls him back into the water.
Okay, now that's the part I want to talk about. I was like, oh, word. This is what I'm talking about. Because that shit was hard as fuck. It was better than The Revenant.
I'm weak.
I mean, that got him an Oscar. He got an Oscar for fighting that bear. It was better than The Revenant. And it was way better than Idris Elba trying to fight that lion in Beast.
We're not even going to talk about Beast.
Yeah.
We're going to leave that alone.
That alligator got at his ass. He fucked that alligator up. The only thing in my head, I was like, you can't see in that water.
Right.
So, like, we can't see, like, how they're seeing.
Yeah, the underwater black and white scene. Yeah.
Yeah.
He looked at it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I was like, nah, dog. Man, he fucked that alligator up. That shit got him. Man, he fucked that damn alligator up. Granted, that alligator fucked him up, too. But he fucked that alligator up.
But the alligator did look a little fake grabbing him. I didn't like that. The initial grab where it jumps out the water and,
yeah,
you know, it was a little shaky.
Yeah, it was quick.
But
I like the shit after. When he had his back against it, that thing was like, bah, yeah. He was stabbing the fuck out that alligator, yo.
That alligator.
And the alligator was huge, because when the slavers found it later, they was like, damn, this is a big motherfucker. There's no way he got away from this. Cut it open.
Empty.
There's like, he's not here. And then that's when they set up camp. Cause remember, they were eating the alligator. And that's when they was like, that's a smart nigger. He's like, we can't have that shit.
No, man.
So, yeah, at this point, he wraps up. He's doing everything. Will Smith, what happens? That's the part you was talking about. Somebody overthrew the goddamn plantation. He rolls up on a plantation. They burnt that bitch to the ground.
Yep, one of the horses was running. I was like, oh, at first I thought he was having like a nightmare sequence. And because it was like, oh, the horses are running towards me. I was like, oh, he could probably snag a wild horse and try to ride that motherfucker. Nah, these horses are real and one's on fire.
Yep. No, I like this part and I didn't like this part. I like that they showed revolution. Like, niggas, he just stumbled across niggas overthrowing the fucking plantation, as they would. That's why in some of these states it's hard to find plantations, because they burnt them bitches to the ground.
Right.
But
side note, a couple of people for Airbnb have been found to be Airbnb-ing former plantation
the slave
homes,
quarters.
the slave quarters, which I feel is negligent, and Airbnb should not allow that because you are exploiting. Sorry, you know, some real harsh stuff. I wish that people would treat slavery the same way that they treat the Holocaust, and then maybe we can start to find some, you know.
Yeah. That means a lot coming from an immigrant.
I'm dead. I got both citizens. I had dual citizenship.
You ain't got to do a lineage. But you know
right.
what I'm saying? But
right.
That's why I said it means a lot. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like my boy Smitty, he feels he be riding for my peoples too. He's Haitian.
I'm here, Smitty. You supposed to be here. This is supposed to be your chair, my brother. It's mine now.
He and I. Yo, that shit is hilarious. So, the part I liked is, like, he seen the little black girl, and he was like, oh, let me say, like, he's like, she's about to die. Like, let me make sure she's good. Yeah. What I didn't like is the two white guys rolled up on him that was with the slaver, and she had the cross, and he took the cross from her. It was, like, made out of nails. I was like, oh, here we go. Now God is saving him. So they caught him. He's like, yeah, we got you now. Like, you're fucked. But he put the shit between his like knuckles and shit. Man, he punched that nigga in his eyes, started whooping their ass, shot the other dude. Will Smith was going ham. He was like, I'm not going to be a slave again.
The dude that got shot running up, he got it the worst. The black slaver. Yeah, he got it the worst.
Yeah, because they had that black slaver coon nigga.
He was like, oh, my family. You do this to your people? Blacata.
Yeah, he shot that nigga. The nigga asked too. He was like, you killed that alligator? He's like, you are the worst kind. The worst kind. Bow! Bashed his head in with that damn rifle. Then left. So he getting closer. He's like, yo, I got this shit. Yeah, so pretty much after that, like, nothing major went down. Ready for this?
Major.
Yeah. Not major really went down. After that, they just showed him, like, running. Basically, he was just getting hawked down by this dude the other day. I mean, the whole time. But he was, like, he stayed steps ahead, man. He was on his P's and Q's.
I was so tired of that, man.
Like, give up.
Give up, man. You are hours away from home.
Yo, cities away.
Go, just chill out.
Even they said it. They was like, damn, you came from there? He's like, yeah. Well, I came from whatever, then the troops came. That's what happened. He was going. He seen the cannons. You know what I'm saying? He seen, like, remnants of the war and shit. He's like, oh, I'm getting close. He starts going. Here comes goddamn horsey man. Horsey slave man. Yeah. Knocks him down. Hops off. Beats him down. I was like, oh, this is fucked up because he's all tired from doing this shit, or he beat the shit out this dude.
These guys had to have, like, the stamina of Olympic athletes because he was running for days, sleeping in trees. I'm like, bruh, chill out.
Shout outs to my nigga Bill Burr. He said that shit too. He's like, these people come from slaves, which were like triathletes, and you think I'm finna play defense on them? He's like, no.
Oh, this is him.
But, yeah, so boom. White dude rolled up on him. He hit him, and basically gave him some meat. Like, oh, you earned it. Like,
you're my dog, remember?
You're as good as my dogs. You finally earned the meat. He's like, beg for it. He's like, nigga, I ain't begging for shit. Then, this movie was long, too. It was like 2 hours and 45 minutes, which I'm glad, because they showed one side, the slave side, then the non-slave side.
And shout-outs to the black platoon that saved him.
Yeah, that's what I was finna get to. Basically, he had the gun drawn on Will Smith, like, I'm finna kill you. Nope. The blacks came. Bow. Killed that white man.
He had to go. He was doing too much.
He was like, oh, shit. What happened? He's turning around. Them black dudes, all dark-skinned as fuck.
Which was also good.
Yup. Those were the foundational black Americans rolling up. And I liked, because here's one thing they never say. And this is why I be telling people, like, you're crazy as fuck to think black people aren't like the black aboriginals that were here mixed with the slaves that they brought here. The little tiny bit of slaves, because a lot of people don't know, only like 3% of the slaves came here. They all went to fucking Brazil in the Caribbeans. Only a little bit came here. That's why they had breeding farms. But
it's a lot to take in.
Because there was black people already here. Like you always hear people say, the natives were slaves too. Yeah, the black ones. How do you think they knew the land?
Tukul Khan.
No, we ain't doing that. We ain't doing that.
I'm dead.
That's how they should have tied the link in, but they didn't. Instead they killed Angela Bassett. Don't get me started. So they saved them. You feel me? And they was like, yo, get him some water, get him some food. I was like, oh, word, look at the blacks. But the point I was making was, I like how you said, he was like, you were born free? Like, you were never a slave? Black guy's like, yeah. I said, yeah, there was black people here that were never slaves. Yeah. People act like that never happened.
And whoever did the cinematography for that, they, the black dude that they had be the captain.
His eye.
Yeah, they put contacts or something. Because his eyes are such a light contrast towards his body, it just made him stick out.
Yeah.
You knew he was regal by the whole tone.
Yo, you know, if I'm not mistaken, isn't that the new Jeffrey on the Fresh Prince? I don't watch the new Fresh Prince, but that looked like him.
It's
Because if that's him, I'm pissed off.
That's not the new Jeffrey from the Fresh Prince.
It looks like him.
That's Bushmaster from Luke Cage.
That is Bushmaster from Luke Cage. Okay.
Because the accent was horrible.
Yeah, it was. And that's another thing I don't like. I don't stop getting other black people to play us. We can play ourselves. We can fucking play ourselves, man.
Yeah, stop doing that. Stop getting, these Americanized actors to try and pull off a Jamaican accent. This shit. Just hire a Jamaican.
Thank you. Yeah, we could do our own thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, honestly, I'm surprised we would have fought it. I'm surprised Africans weren't mad about Black Panther. Like, how come you didn't make him African? I'm like, technically, we just made him. They made him African because they thought that was the thing back then. Like, all black Africa shit. It was for us, man. They weren't passing out black. It's named after the party, but we ain't going there. You know what I'm saying? It's got nothing to do with your animal over there.
Right. I'm just saying, man. I feel like there's been a recent surge of actors in Hollywood not dismissing, but not accepting certain roles because of the ethnic background of the character. Like, I'm white, I wouldn't want to, depict the story of a Chinese man.
Yeah.
Hire somebody that's of Asian descent to do it.
I like that, but I don't like. See, they look at black people like we're just all one big nigga. It's just like, oh, we could get Idris Elba. I'm like, no, stop. Idris Elba cannot play another black person. I don't care how good he does it. I'm done with it.
Shout out to Chadwick Boseman. That man played like 5 different black people.
Important black people.
Important.
When he was casted for Black Panther, I was so happy.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, that's the dude. That's the dude.
A lot of people lost out on that too.
Yeah, and I'm like, Chadwick, he looked way younger than what he was.
Fun Marvel fact: Wesley Snipes tried to get them to do a Black Panther movie back in the 90s, and they said it wouldn't make any bread.
I could believe it.
Wesley Snipes is. Think prime Wesley Snipes is the Black Panther. That would have been awesome.
That shit would have been hard.
That shit would have been. He already the skin tone.
Yeah.
That's the whole character.
Yeah. And then he's got the martial arts.
Mm-hmm. Man, that kind of got me thinking about Bashenga, but we'll talk about that another time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that should
talk about that, yeah. So, here's what I like. Once he got to the thing, I like that they showed this. Because a lot of people act like, oh, the black people, they were set free. It's like, no, they fucking weren't.
No.
He stepped in there, all them black people. That guy told them when he stepped into the registry, like, technically you're still a slave. So either you're fighting or we're taking your ass back. He's like,
technically you're stolen property.
Yeah, he's like, Lincoln said I'm free. He was like, you're at an army base. Like, go get Lincoln then. If you're that cool with him, go get him.
Talk to your boy Lincoln.
That's exactly what he said. Talk to your boy Lincoln.
And that was indeed egregious.
Yeah, I was like, there we go, white supremacy. They make it seem like the North was just this happy place that just loved the black people.
I feel like racism was still going on in the North. It was just a little bit more.
Bruh, I used to go visit a slave cemetery 4 blocks away from my house where I lived in New York. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, I used to go visit it often at the William Floyd Estates.
Another fun fact. What's that park? What's that park in New York? That big park?
Central Park?
Central Park?
Yeah.
You know, Central Park was a town of all black people.
Yeah, yeah.
And they flooded and burned it down to the ground and built Central Park over it.
Mm-hmm. Just like Oscarville, where Lake Lanier is.
Yeah.
In Georgia.
That's where I learned about the Airbnb. Because the guy that was the Airbnb for Lake Lanier, he's like, he's trying to sell it to some investors. And he says to the investors, this is the north side of the lake and not the south side. You know, apparently there's some rumors about some ghosts or whatever. And of all the panel of, people that he's trying to sell the property to, there's one black guy. He plays on the lines or whatever. And he didn't go into depth about what the actual ghosts were about. He didn't say that this is a former site for slaves and they, drowned out the town.
It wasn't a former slave site. It was almost all I think it was like 95% populated black town.
My bad.
That was doing well.
Yeah, that was doing well, making their own money, had their own banks.
Yeah.
And he said to the black guy, that they wanted to redistribute the water to Atlanta. I'm like, no, you starved that town out.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And all those buildings are still under there. They're supposed to have a movie coming out about it.
Really?
Yeah, it's called Lanier.
That's a movie I want to watch because I feel like in America they wash over certain parts of the type of horror and atrocities that were made.
Which is why when you said earlier, no slave movies, I was like, no, we need them. Because trust, you stop making the movies about them, they'll stop writing them in books. In 300 years, people won't, they'll be like, what happened?
Fair enough.
I'm like, how many times in history do we have to keep seeing history erased and replaced with some bullshit? And then when you find out the truth, the bullshit's been going on so long, nobody believes you.
That's why they're trying to get rid of.
Like I said earlier with the Native Americans and shit. Nobody wants to hear like black people were Native Americans. Nobody wants to hear that shit. But they'll accept the ones in Australia because they're still there. They never switched up. But I think the new ones might be a little, but you know what I'm saying? Everybody know them fucking Aboriginals in Australia were black-skinned people.
Well, some of them that are black-skinned, blonde-haired, and blue-eyed.
Yeah, that's true because black people have the power to mutate like that. That's where the Asian people came from. The Bush people of Africa. If you look at them, they look Asian. They have the slanty eyes and everything. Black people are actually that group of people in particular. They can mutate a lot of their genes. I don't think at will, but like through time, like their genes mutate. Just like albino black person. You know what I'm saying? Black people have the ability to make anything.
Which is crazy. The black woman is the only female that can do that. She can have a child of every color, every shade. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Shout out to all the black women out there that don't, beat up their men.
I don't know what that. What is that? Are you saying black women beat up their men? Maybe
They beat me up.
Oh man, it's because you're not American. American men won't let that stand. We'll sock them right in the eye. No, I never hit, but I be wanting to. The ones that do, I be like, yeah, that's a brave dude. Damn, we just shouted out the girls, and now I'm saying the guys are brave for hitting them. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like abusive.
Wig. Crying.
Anyway, yeah, definitely shout out to black women. It's the only ones I like anyway. So, they get there. He joins the army. Here's another thing of white supremacy I didn't like. He shows him the picture of his back, and he's like, yeah, you know what this means to me? Like, you don't listen. I was like, damn. That's what that means? He don't listen? You didn't listen to that white man, so you're not going to listen to me. You can't be in my army. He's like, no, that means, like, I'm unbreakable, and I'm going to fucking kill them.
Right.
They was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, when he had that little monologue against the general, I like that. He was talking that shit, you know what I'm saying?
I also like that they showed, they basically forced him into the thing, and then when they had the sit-down talk, he was like, yo, I seen those cannons. They're headed there, like, I built the railroads and shit. And then, like, the black guy was a general. He was not allowed to speak until they told him. Mm-hmm. I was like, racism. There you go. Stop acting like this was some happy, they treated blacks great. No, they didn't. They just was free. They didn't treat him great. They treated him like fucking shit.
I feel like it was only till he had something of worth, which was like a backdoor, the fact that he knew the terrain and he had information about the railroad, did they even give him a chance to speak?
Yeah. And then guess what they did? Another racist move, but I'm glad they did it because this is what I mean by, like, we've been winning wars for America forever. They was like, that's too dangerous. Niggers, like, you niggers go. There you go. That does seem like how we could take this over, but it's very dangerous. You blacks could go. Go ahead, blacks. The blacks was like, fuck. All right, fuck it, let's do it.
Yeah.
Then he gave the illest speech ever. That speech he gave to them, which I also like, they didn't just focus on Will Smith. At the point, I was like, where is Will Smith? Mm-hmm. Like, it was about all the black people. He was like, yo, we're not fighting for them.
We're fighting for us.
We're fighting for us. Mm-hmm. Not just us, not just the slaves, the free ones too, our families. They're not gonna give us this shit. We gotta take this shit. and this is how we do it. He was like, fuck all what they on. We here for this shit. Man, them black people went ham.
Yeah. In the beginning, it was looking a little shaky, though.
It was.
Looking a little shaky.
But I think that just had to be for theatrics. Like, oh, no, they're getting blown up. They got the cannons until they went into nigga mode. They was like, nope.
When that dude was on the ground, Harlem shaking, and then he got right before he died, I said, oh, it's about to turn up.
Oh, yeah, and that nigga was like, he's like, mama. He's like, go with your mother. Because Will Smith got blown away. He was knocked out for like 10 minutes.
I'm dead. He was out cold in the puddle. Let me tell you something. If you drown in a puddle, it's going to be some talk.
Yeah. You can't just say that. But he drowned in the puddle. I'm like, was he in a war? Did he get blown? Did someone force him there? But I need more story.
Yeah, bro, like you died in a puddle. Like that's the most.
He tripped. But he didn't get up. Puddle got him.
Man, I like the whole little joke about, did you see those cannons? Nah, they were bigger. And I was like, woo.
Right.
The North, y'all need to step up. It made all y'all Philadelphians and New York niggas look bad.
Yeah, and you know what? I love it, and I'm from New York. I love that they did that. You know why? Because I be in the South, and I be like the way Southerners act and shit. I be like, how did they lose the war? And then I think, oh, because the black people joined. They were getting their ass kicked until the black people joined.
Yaga. I'm not going to lie to you. The black people, allowing the black people to join your ranks? Because the black people was going to fight for the South.
Yeah, and a lot of people say that. There was black people fighting. I'm like, you weren't allowed to be in the army if you were black in the South. You had to follow your master.
Let me tell you something.
If your master said, come on, you had to go.
Shine and shoot. Hey, shout outs to when, after the war, when they pulled up at the
plantation.
The plantation. And they said, Captain Lloyd. And they talked to that nigga. Had him on his knees. Sorry. He talked to that Caucasian individual.
Right.
And he looked Will Smith in the eyes and he saw him in the outfit. And he was like, they let you join? Bow. Stop asking questions.
Right.
Stop asking questions. The whole, you saw me in my prime before you died?
Yeah.
Great. I loved it.
And I'm glad he got his family back. Oh, yeah, that's another thing we skipped over. So they were trying to sell the mom and keep the other kids there. And basically implying like they were going to rape them every damn day.
My man was looking at her and she just started bleeding. Like, this man is ruthless.
Yeah, because they were. It showed their natural way. She jammed her hand in that cotton gin. She was like, fuck that shit. I'm not leaving my babies. Don't nobody want to buy this.
Having birth, getting hurt, breaking an ankle or anything like that in them times, your ass might as well die.
Right. Nah, she damaged herself because who wants to buy that? Now she has to stay with her kids.
Jebediah, you out here selling me spoiled goods? Head ass.
Yeah, like, what the fuck can she do for me? One thing I did like, that I'm not sure if they did it purposely, but I love that they did it. You see how fly the slaves were? All jokes aside. They weren't wearing tattered clothes.
Yeah.
They had some drip. Slave drip.
Them ankle skirts.
The ponytails, the skirts, all that. They was clean. The scarves. Now, it was like the worst material ever, maybe, but I'm like, the slaves made their clothes. You feel me? I was like, they were not playing. They got busy. Mm-hmm. I'm like, who made those clothes? Black people made those clothes. Those slaves' clothes was, shit, it was better than the white guy drooling over the girl. He looked all sweaty. He had a fucking white shirt. It was all pulled down and shit.
Yeah, man.
Slaves' clothes was tight. You see, it lasted Will Smith his whole journey.
It really did. Because I thought to myself, he never changed clothes. He was just hungry and sweating the whole time.
Yeah, mud on it. Yeah, water on it. Yeah, alligator on it. Ran through a fire, smog.
The alligator.
Yeah, alligator on it.
Man, I thought he was going to use the alligator skin at the halfway house for something. I'm like, go ahead and make your little suit of armor or whatever you got to do.
Nah, that would have been my take on it with Marvel. With a Marvel co-production.
Fucking crying.
You would have had the alligator put over his head and shit.
Pause, man. You better. Did I tell you? Batman apparently fell from the edge of the atmosphere and survived in a regular suit.
Yeah. You told me some shit like that.
Bruh,
I was like, of course he did.
I want to fight Batman. But back to Will Smith. End of the movie, finding the family. That was very dramatic.
I got a Batman fun fact.
Wait. Go ahead, girl. Tell me the fun fact.
The first Robin ever casted in that movie, Batman and Robin or whatever. The first Robin ever casted was actually Marlon Wayans.
I knew that. And that would have been crazy because that would have been a funny.
And they paid him. I guess they just recast it on some racist shit, but
I mean that rubber suit and his head. I don't think they were ready for the switching of the race yet.
Yeah, they weren't, but at least he got paid.
He did. Nicolas Cage was supposed to be Superman.
That would have never worked.
Bro.
That would have never worked.
Bruh.
I'm Superman. Like, come on, man.
Let's finish talking about this guy, man. I'm good. So Will Smith, slave.
Yeah, so he got his family, and the black people came in. That's another thing I love they showed. The black soldiers came in and freed the black people.
Yeah. That was a little different.
Told them they were free. I didn't like how coonish they were acting. What? What you mean free? I was like, look at the eye bucking and shit. There's no way. We's a free. I was like, all right, guys. We did this whole movie. We just had to have this, huh? The dumb eye bucking ass coon and
bro, that shit was funny as hell. But anyway.
Yeah, and that was the end of the movie.
That was the end of the movie. I always like reading the little facts when the end credits are rolling.
What'd you catch?
That they distributed that whole image around the world.
Oh yeah. That shit was in my textbook,
bro.
But I didn't know that was picture seeing it at that time though.
That would have been crazy.
Dog, there was only like 8 pictures at that time. They was like
exactly.
Yeah, like that. Whew. Boy, news back then, huh? That's when propaganda mattered.
Bruh, your ass is just staring at a cloth written in some ink for hours. Couldn't do it. I'd be bored.
Oh, I think the last thing I'd be in those times is bored. You can literally get into anything. No, but there's no cameras. No, you could get into anything.
Yeah, but we didn't have anything substantial at that time.
Dog, bruh, slaves turned into millionaires. You can do anything at that time.
What time period is this? The 1800s?
Yo, 1865? Yeah, let's just say 1860. Because that's when that happened. That movie was 1865. Or 1863. Same time as Django.
Django was a good movie.
Will Smith was casted for Django. Good thing he didn't do it.
Will Smith?
Yeah.
He would try to make it too funny. Jamie Foxx was the right amount of grit and funny.
I think Will Smith probably would have did fine. Jamie Foxx did so good, I just can't see no one else doing it.
Yeah.
Or I can probably someone else, but not Will Smith. But yeah, yo. So I mean, I get that movie like a 8, 7, 9 if I want to be a bitch ass nigga.
I guess I'm a bitch ass nigga. I'm gonna give it a clean 7.9. Hey.
Yeah, 7, 9, 8. That's good.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, it was good. I'll tell you right now, it's better than I thought it was gonna be.
Way better.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna fucking suck. I like that the story was more about the time and the importance of getting the fuck out of slavery and black people was freeing themselves and all that shit. I like that. That's why I didn't mind Will Smith didn't say much. It just showed like, damn, this what people had to do to escape slavery. I mean, look, they ain't all make it either. And Harriet Tubman did this trip how many times?
I didn't even think about that.
How was that not Woman of the Year forever?
Wasn't she supposed to be put on like the $20 bill?
We don't want that. We don't want that.
What you want Harriet on?
You want currency on currency? Because that's what a slave was.
I'm not gonna lie to you. That was deep.
Yeah.
That was deep.
Me and my people frown upon that. Like, we didn't ask for that. How about you give us our fucking, what she was running away from? You know what I'm saying? And fighting for. You know what I'm saying? Cause the shit that she went through. How about we get paid off that? Fuck putting her on a fucking, how about you pay us for the work she did?
In the comments, you gotta tell me how deep that was. That was how do you have currency on currency? That I'm about to make that a post.
Oh, thank you very much. I'll clip it.
That's crazy. That was a deep thought right there. If you guys missed it, get your battle bars up. All right.
Yo, so that pretty much wraps up here, yo. Shit, what's next? Ant-Man?
Ant-Man Quantumania?
We doing Ant-Man next?
I don't know. When is Ant-Man coming?
Friday. Or no. Or Avatar. Avatar.
Avatar? Yeah, Avatar. That's a 3-hour movie, though.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm talking about we do the review like we doing this. Or we can watch it. Yeah, I got a fucking theater. I got a fucking hunt. I got 200-inch projection.
Paul. Yeah, he finished it. You finished it. My man said projection.
With the surround sound speakers and shit.
Man. All right, guys.
All right, yo. Till next time, you want to plug any of your stuff?
Hey, man, it's your boy, Mr. Lord British, the Space Fighter. I am ill. DA_Space Fighter. Check me out. Anthony British at Facebook.com. Holla.
Yeah, all right. Pretty much comedian Romeo Mac on all social media platforms, yo. Holla at me, subscribe, and, share this shit. This is a good one.
Shit.
I'm going to say this, y'all. Yo, Smitty, he got at you. That shit. Oh, my God.
Man, don't let me battle Smitty, man.
Oh, no. In what?
Whatever he got, man.
All right, well, you heard it. Maybe we'll see. All right, y'all.